So many treasures. Sima, we have seen furniture, we've seen art, jewelry, watches, and now I'm hanging out with some rare and used books. I'm hanging out with Jim here with Acorn
Hi.
Books, and holy moly, there is a book that you're about to show us and tell us that is hundreds of years old, and I am shocked at the condition that it is in. Tell me a little bit about this.
Okay, this is from 1741. It's in French. It's a book by Jean-Baptiste Rousseau. He was a French playwright and poet, and this is his poems.
And how is that in such good condition after hundreds of years? I would think that those papers would be brittle.
Well, actually, paper before 1820 is actually always usually pretty soft and doesn't age like you'd expect, because they didn't use wood pulp paper. It was all 100% rag paper back then. They started manufacturing pulp paper in the 19th century, and that's why
it gets brittle and
right. And a lot of cheaper books are usually use the pulp paper,
okay.
So that's why you find books from the 1930s when they wanted to make them really cheap.
Yeah.
During the Depression. Those are the crumbly books usually.
Now this is rare, so it is on the higher end of price. You've got a range of prices. So we've got that book, and then we've also got something from the World Fair, the souvenir album, and that's the World Fair didn't go on for too long, so that's a pretty rare piece as well.
Yeah, I believe this was from the Chicago, the World's Fair, the Columbian exhibition. The Columbian exhibition, and it's a souvenir album. Back then, you would have bought this if you were visiting the fair.
And that was in the 1800s?
In the 1894 is when this was printed, but I believe it was going for a few years, 1893, definitely, maybe 1892.
Yeah, but not too many of those. So if you're looking for something that is perhaps vintage and rare, but your budget is a little less, there's some interesting historical pamphlets talking about aspects of Detroit. This is really interesting. You showed off a couple of these as well. And again, we are in Royal Oak, where the farmers market is held. The vintage market has been on Sundays for a long time, but it stopped when the stay-home order was issued. This is the very first vintage market back. I'm sure you're excited. Now I'd say the doors are open, but the parking lot is open. We've got customers. It must be exciting to be back.
Yes, it is.
And to be able to reconnect with some of your customers and bring those rare books to them.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Acorn Books here along with the Vintage Market. It goes until 3 p.m., opened at 8 a.m., so it's open right now, and it goes until 3 p.m. Sima, I'll toss things back to you.
All right, Jen, so what kind of changes are you seeing compared to before the pandemic?
Yeah, it definitely looks a lot different. Pre-pandemic, this event would have been inside, and now it is outside. Pre-pandemic, they had about 100 vendors. Today, there were about 30. So you're going to see about a third of the number of vendors. It's all outside. You see a lot of people wearing masks, trying to maintain distance, and a lot of Lysol, Clorox wipes, and antibacterial gel everywhere. People just trying to make sure things are safe, as well as being able to serve the customers who are showing up for this first antique market back.